Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before I ask for a moment of silence, I want to recognize that our county administrator, Mark, his mom just passed away. So, having lost my mom just 6 weeks ago, I know this is something you just don't never plan on. It's hard to even believe it could happen. But anyway, we want to send our prayers and our blood out to Mark and help him through this time. With that, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you. Well, welcome everybody here. Everybody who's watching or will be watching. If you've got your phones on, please put them on vibrate. We're going to do roll call. Today I'm starting first, so I'm here. Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Stephen?
Here.
Commissioner Culberson?
Here.
Commissioner Cause?
Here.
Okay. Let's get ready to miss somebody, I thought. Public comment. We got a couple. I want an introduction on new representative. Representative Bueller, who will be taking office. Dave, you want to come up and say anything? Hey, you're elected official. Politicians love to talk, okay?
That's part of the job.
That's it. Welcome.
Well, thanks, Mike, for having me here. And I guess what class is this?
It's a government class from Leavenworth High School.
Okay, government. This is what happens. Don't do this after you retire. This is what happens when you wind up in government. No, I'm Dave Bueller. I live in Atlanta. Newly elected representative for the 40th district. So great to have you here. And thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Congratulations. Also, like to thank all the class coming. Would you like to come forward and say something too? I see a couple of the folks back there wearing the shirts I like.
Absolutely.
The Raiders? Okay.
Yes, I'm Tina Keith, and I am the teacher of this American government class, and I've been working with Mr. Stephen. We decided to demonstrate what local government actually looks like. A lot of our students look at national elections and don't realize the impact of their local election and how much their voice really matters on the local level. And so we have a full day plan for them to actually come and look at what local government does and how it impacts their lives. So, thanks for having us.
All right, thank you.
Good. And congratulations to the Raiders for your national championship. Excellent.
Keeps it rolling. Again, welcome again. Okay, we don't have anything on public comment. Again, Mark is gone for administrative business.
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead, Mark. Go ahead, David.
Would you consider that we all change our agenda so we could go right into the Board of Canvassers?
Yes, sir.
So we can.
Smart vote.
Then we have to then allow the clerk to go down and do the provisionals, and then we can reconvene.
I think that's a good move.
Then would you consider a motion at this time?
Yes, sir.
I move that we adjourn as a Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Board of County Canvassers.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Commissioner Cause?
Aye.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you. And I also would like to welcome the class and all of our visitors to the meeting.
Can we interrupt for a second?
This is our. My name is Janet Klasinski, and I'm the county clerk and county election officer. And the Board of County Commissioners always serves as the Board of County Canvassers to certify each election that is held within the county. And so that is going to be our process today. So, Leavenworth County had a very successful election. We had an overall turnout of 50%, but several of our precincts, especially down south, I see a 70%, I see a 69%, 68%, and that's wonderful. You know, for a gubernatorial election, it's just good to see that, because as the county election officer, you know, our main goal is to have people go out and vote, and especially to be able to engage the young students to vote to register to vote once they turn 18, and so I think this process of allowing them to see this is very important. We have 54,249 registered voters in Leavenworth County. We had 26,833 people vote. So we have 26 precincts. Each one of the precincts have a special ballot style with them, and it was successful. A few years ago, each county in the state of Kansas must audit certain races that the Secretary of State's office gives to the county. This year we had to audit 5 different races. We look at the advance and the election day when we're doing our audit. The Board of County Commissioners, as you know, picked the precincts, and then that afternoon we were supplied with the races. We did this on Monday, and I'm very happy to say that the results of our audit were the very same as the results of what was counted on election night. So we also, we talk about having an impact on local elections. We did have a question in the city of Lansing that at this point there's a 14-vote difference. Now we will count some provisionals and come up with the new official count on that, but that just is an example of how important it is for not only federal and state elections, but also for our local elections. So that's something else that we will be certifying today. The other thing that we need to talk about today, too, is we had an official write-in candidate for the 5th District County Commission. We went through each one of those ballots, advance and election day. Our candidate was Todd Lux. He did end up with 1,421 write-in votes. And so we will also be certifying those write-ins today. Provisionals, we had 298 provisional ballots in the county, which is a challenge ballot that allows the voter to register to vote at the same time that he does vote. Out of the 298, we had 202 that I recommend being qualified. They're qualified because these individuals were previously registered within the county. Possibly they moved, had a name change, but if they were registered, then that ballot would count. The 96 that I recommend being not qualified, 99% of them were the individuals were never previously registered in Leavenworth County. And with the regulations set out by the Secretary of State's office and the legislators, those 96 would not receive my recommendation to qualify. They would have to be not qualified. Does anyone have any questions?
Mr.
I have one question.
Go ahead, Mark.
If, like we've been seeing on the news, other states, where a voting machine would fail and you come in, what is the procedure for that?
Well, in Leavenworth County, I do a lot of testing. There's a lot done prior to Election Day, which a lot of people don't see. I had maintenance done on all of our equipment, and we tested that. If a machine were to go down, and I'm not saying that that couldn't happen, because it certainly would. But we do have backups on that. Plus, we have the ability to hold those ballots and do a hand count on those on election night, or to replace that piece of equipment that was faulty. In other states, I don't know. I've seen the news and the headlines the same as all the commissioners have. I do not. It didn't happen in Kansas this time. I think, there has been occasions in Kansas where machines have gone down, but it has never resulted in a lapse of time on, still counting ballots. We, through our Secretary of State's office, and Secretary Schwab was reelected this time, we have a lot of rules and regulations in place for those exact scenarios.
Okay. It's good to share. Okay. Any other commissioner?
No, sir.
No.
All right. At this time, before we certify the official count, I would like to take the students down to my office. We have the piece of equipment set up, the DS200, that each polling place uses on Election Day, and they will see firsthand the way the ballots are fed in. They can watch us have the official report, and then we'll come back up.
Where are you taking time, you think?
If you would give me 10 or 15 minutes,
Okay, we can
that would be all that I need. Really, a lot of the time will just be getting down to the office, and we have some of the provisionals already processed, but I did want the students to be able to see firsthand.
Sure. Absolutely.
Take your
Good.
time.
Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we temporarily adjourn as a Board of County Commissioner or County Canvassers and return to the Board of County Commissioners.
Second?
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Commissioner Cos?
Aye.
All righty. Moving right along with that, we're at administrative business. Any county commissioner?
We'd received a request for a letter of support for a KDOT grant for the Guidance Center for Public Transportation. We're all on consensus on that.
Yeah.
I don't have a
And
problem.
someone will prepare that letter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
Anything else?
Mike, do you want to report out on our meeting yesterday?
Oh, you go ahead.
Well, you did the minutes, so
I don't have them with me, but
Okay.
well, we had a very good meeting, productive. Let's debate who's going to do it. We had a good meeting yesterday on the committee that's looking into what our policy will be concerning commemoration plaques and statues and such on county property. And we're moving forward, and we had a lot of good ideas, and I expect to have a result within the
Next
month
few
or
weeks?
6 weeks, yeah.
and we'll be meeting again once
Mark gets back.
Mark gets back and Todd is back from his vacation, so that we can kind of do some finalization of that.
Good. You guys moving right along?
Yeah.
Great. Anything else?
Just one more thing.
Yeah,
We
Doug.
received an email from the county administrator on a letter of engagement for legal services.
Yes.
We want to put that on the agenda.
Yes.
I think we do.
Okay.
I think we should.
Put it on next week's
Next week?
agenda.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any other commissioner? Okay. Consent agenda. Any item need to be removed from the consent agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it. Any comments, concerns? Okay. I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stevens?
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Commissioner Klein?
Aye.
Okay, we're good then. I think the next thing we have is consider a motion to approve and authorize the chairman to sign the solid waste hauling contract with Ham Quarry. Ham, good morning.
Morning, Tammy.
David has worked very hard on coordinating our hauling contract with Ham and Ham's attorneys. They came in as the lowest bid, but it will cost an increase in our gate rates because, like everything else,
Oh, no.
everything is just going up.
Yep.
But we are still the lowest in the surrounding area.
So I had a question. Did we lose something? I read through as much of that as I could understand, but to keep the prices where you've kept them, did we give up something, or did we? I mean, with fuel prices and labor shortage and everything that's going on, it was unbelievable to me that we could maintain this level of charges. Is there something
David?
big that we changed?
Short answer, Commissioner Culberson, which will amaze you. The answer to your question is no.
One word answer from David. That's a record.
And it's the right one, Jeff.
Okay, so I'm just wondering. I just thought maybe there's something we gave up, like nothing major
Maybe
changed.
the future's going to be brighter, and inflation will stop.
Man,
Commissioners,
okay.
I appreciate Tammy's comments, but Tammy and Mark did, I think, a tremendous job on negotiating with Ham Quarry regarding this, and I wish the students were here because, quite frankly, this is so glamorous. We're talking about taking out the trash. But the transfer station is very heavily used by the citizens of the county. The services will remain the same, and we believe will be enhanced with respect to continuing operation. And there are some price increases, but we believe we've negotiated as close as we can get. And Ham was the lowest bidder. Ham is the current provider, and we feel they're a good partner for the county in this. The terms of this contract have been hashed out quite a bit, and I would recommend that it be approved by this board.
All right, I was just making sure because I thought it'd be way worse.
I did too. I
thought
mean,
we must
it's
have
just a
lost
bad
something.
time to be negotiating contracts.
Yeah.
Everything's so unknown. And does the solid waste committee also looked at this?
Yeah, at our last meeting, we went over everything. And
Okay.
So it's just, waiting for approval, and then I'll send it out again to them.
Okay.
Any other questions or concerns? I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve and authorize the chairman to sign the solid waste hauling contract with Ham Quarry.
I'll second it. Any more discussion, folks? I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stevens?
Aye.
Mr. Culberson?
Aye.
Commissioner Collins?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. Excellent job. Okay, presentations. I think got one speaker. Name I don't recognize. Nancy Carpenter. Is Nancy here? Good morning.
Good morning. Once again, Nancy Carpenter, 14681 Crider Road, Bonner Springs, Kansas. I must confess that though I never tire of visiting with you, I am tired of dealing with the prospect of a sand quarry in southern Leavenworth County. The last position I held in my professional career was that of chair of the mathematics department at Johnson County Community College. On a daily basis, I dealt with conflict, whether between faculty and administration, faculty and faculty, faculty and student, or student and student. I found that the best way to help resolve a troublesome situation was to realize that each party saw things from a different perspective. It was my job to try to see all their perspectives and work to bring about a solution. It was fantastic when both parties felt that they'd had their voices heard, even if the solution clearly presented a loss to one of the parties. So I thought I'd try to see the sand quarry from different perspectives. First, that of the landowner. The landowner feels that they're completely justified in using their land for whatever purpose they see fit. This is evidenced in a letter dated October 2nd, 2020, where a lawyer wrote on their behalf, saying that the county was blocking an appropriate use of private property, and was itself to blame for all the woes it was experiencing. This perspective is difficult for me to understand, as by nature I tend to think of others before myself. Nonetheless, it seems to be the perspective of the landowner. Next, the perspective of the company hoping to mine sand on this land. The company sees an opportunity to make money. That seems to be the driving force behind most businesses. The lawyers for the company were proud when the BOCC granted an SUP in July of 2020. In fact, they boasted on their firm's website that, quote, securing the special use permit in this case has a significant effect on the future economic growth of the client and opens the area for future commercial industrial businesses in the area. The company was so confident in this future that they purchased adjoining farmland valued at over $1.2 million, undoubtedly with an eye to more quarrying. How ironic that the company would turn around and sue the county, protesting that they would have to meet conditions that would cost them money. In fact, in November 2020, lawyers representing the county were told that, quote, if the county's position is that Kaw Valley must build a new route prior to opening for business, that is a non-starter for Kaw Valley. So the perspective of the company seems to be to spend money, only to make money, and protest vehemently if others lay down rules that don't fit with their plan. Again, a perspective that I have a tough time understanding. How about the perspective of the citizens, who will be most impacted by the quarry? Here I have no problem understanding, as I've been a vocal opponent to the project at hand. It's hard for me to look beyond the damage such a project will cause to the health, safety, and welfare of regular folks. It's hard for me to see the painstaking research done by citizens be disregarded in such a cavalier fashion. Where statements from staff like, quote, public health, safety, and welfare are unlikely to be detrimentally affected, backed by evidence, where reports submitted by the company that were shown to be inaccurate ever questioned. I digress. My perspective has been made quite clear over the years. Now it's your turn. As the arbiter, which perspective carries the most weight as you consider your oath to serve the citizens of Leavenworth County? How will you work towards a solution, remembering that you answer to the citizens of Leavenworth County? If you think that in fairness, you should look at all perspectives and still consider a request for a sand quarry permit in southern Leavenworth County, insist that the process start with a clean slate, a new application, all new studies, documents that are scrutinized and sent back to the applicant if they are not up to snuff. And remember, the taxpayers should not be burdened. That means records should be kept of all time spent by county staff and contracted consultants, and the applicant should pay for their time. The applicant must also know that going through the process does not guarantee success, as your decisions are to place the needs of the many citizens of Leavenworth County above the needs of the one landowner who lives in Minnesota and the one business that is based in Wyandotte County. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. I think that was the only person we had.
Well said.
Except for that, we'll go. Commissioners, I'll start first. I had the opportunity to participate with Commissioner Cos and Commissioner Stephen in the Veterans Day Parade. Besides being a little windy and cold, I thought it turned out pretty nice. Also, Lansing's got a council meeting this Thursday, and I'll be attending that. Doug?
Just had Bayshore City Council last week, and then Thursday night we had the transportation meeting at Bayshore Library.
Thanks, Doug. Mike?
I went to the transportation meeting at Lansing. Night, Thursday. The days are running together. And then we had the meeting with on the commemoration policy. And lots of other things cooking, but that's it.
Thank you, Mike. Jeff?
I don't have anything.
What?
I don't have anything this week.
Okay.
Say it again. I didn't hear that.
I was in the parade.
Yeah, we were in the parade.
Yeah, you were in the parade.
We had the granddaughters with us in
That's
the parade.
Right.
And we stayed warm.
Yeah, I know it. Go ahead.
Let's see, the Veterans Parade, and then on Saturday I had a strategic planning meeting with the Kansas City Area Transit Authority, and then the Athena Award banquet yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And then the LCDC meeting last Thursday morning. So And then as soon as I'm finished with this meeting, I have another transit authority meeting this morning. So
Keep going. I was really glad when I saw the Athena Award. That was
yes,
good.
that was
That was nice. She got
Mrs.
that.
Hunter. That was
Yeah.
well deserved for
Yes, it
Maxine Hunter.
Yes,
It was our Athena Award recipient this year was Maxine Hunter, and congratulations for her.
Yeah, you see
She's
her
a wonderful representative for the city and for the Chamber of Commerce. So well deserved.
Right, everything. Okay. All right. What do we do here? We want
Can we adjourn as Board of County Commissioners?
Or
Just
recess?
Recess.
to recess until they come in?
Yes.
Okay. Need a motion on that, though? Just recess?
Just to-
Okay. Recess for what? 10 minutes, guys? Is that now? Because they said they need 15. What do y'all want to do? 10 minutes, we'll start.
And coffee.
Okay, we'll recess for 10
10
minutes.
minutes.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn as Board of County Commissioners and convene as a Board of County Canvassers.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson?
Aye.
Commissioner Cos?
Aye.
Okay.
All right. The students and I went down. We did run the provisional ballots through. Right on here it shows that the 202 were ran through and counted, which does take our count up to 27,033. I know we have the city of Lansing here. And your sales tax question passed with 1,721 yes to 1,698 no.
Wow.
So it was very
Every
difficult.
vote counts.
Every vote
Yeah,
counts.
I mean, this is just a great example
It is.
to
It really
show
is.
that every vote does count.
23 votes.
Any of the other races we had did not change. The results remained the same. The provisional is really the only race we had that could have made a difference is the city of Lansing sales tax question. So I just ask then that the board certify the November 8th general election. And if you have any questions, please ask. Or if anyone in the public has any questions.
We have anything before we get that motion going forward? I
Do
think
we need a motion to approve the provisionals as recommended by the clerk first?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Thank
Okay.
you.
I move that we accept the provisional ballots as recommended by the county clerk.
Second.
motion and a second. Aye, Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stephen?
Aye.
Culberson?
Aye.
Mr. Cos?
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that 23 vote difference on the yes and no on the sales tax is actually a 12 vote difference because if somebody votes from one side to the other side, that's only 12 people that would have made the difference. So,
It was, on election night, there was a difference of 15.
Yeah.
It was, I believe, 15. And most of the time with provisionals, as we have talked about in the past, kind of is a 50-50. You don't ever see these provisionals all go one way or the other, the same as voters going into the polling place to vote.
Well, I think that one even thing's even more, is just as important is that the Lansing government decided to give the opportunity to the voters to decide if this is what they wanted. Because we've talked about a poll for 20 years. And we had one before when we had it at the same time as the library, and it failed. And that's been probably, Mayor Bernard was about 27 years ago. So the voters have spoken on this. So it's always nice to see that they get the opportunity to do that.
That is a very good point. And, it's the same with building a new school. The new schools are not decided by
Right.
the Board of Education. They're decided by the voters in that school district.
Yep.
As our sales tax question that the county had, you elect a governing body, but that governing body then turns to the voters to decide the important issues that deal with a lot of the finances that the county has.
And I'm really glad that Lansing put it on the ballot on a general election and not a mail-in. I think that was very important.
Okay. I think we're ready for the other one now, unless there's some more questions. Doug, you're leading the charge so
All
far.
right. I move that we certify the 2022 general election.
Second?
Motion second. One last chance for discussion. Aye, Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Stephen.
Aye.
Commissioner Culberson.
Aye.
Commissioner Cod.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Just want to thank the clerk and all of her staff
Yes,
and everybody that worked the
absolutely.
elections. This is huge.
Just
Absolutely.
need to sign that, please. on the
Okay.
back.
On the back. If we don't have anything else, we
Well,
can.
can we,
Go ahead.
do any of the students have any questions for the commissioners? Any of you that are here that, just with, since this is a different form of government, the county form of government, any questions from anybody? Just giving you an opportunity before we adjourn. So you've got
We
five
do-
of us up here.
We do appreciate it. If you do want to ask us questions later, I'm sure your instructor or somebody can get back a hold of us. It's an interesting process when you start getting into it, whether it's local or county or state. Excellent job again. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming
Consider
and your
motion to
interest.
adjourn the board if we are in.
Oh, sure.
This was a special circumstance on certifying an election. On a typical commissioners meeting, what kind of things do you handle and deal with?
Mercy.
A lot of stuff.
Administrative business.
There's a lot of stuff that goes in. I learned about the county because I was a mayor in Lansing for 4 years before I came up here, and there is so much on the table that I did not recognize, especially when you're dealing with property tax and people think that we make those taxes, which we don't. And it's just a lot of issues that go on. You got you got across the street, you got the Justice Center. I could go on. And that's one to be a good question when I speak to you guys at 12 today, too. I've got a little form that I always speak on, and I'll definitely bring that, too, so in case that. But it's tremendous. It's
Yeah,
tremendous.
we conduct the business of the county here every week, and so we every week we have a check register that we look over and approve. So when we pay the bill, we approve paying the bills of the county, and we get reports from all the different departments. We get quarterly reports. We approve contracts. I think that you were gone listening to the clerk feeding the ballots, but we had a contract that we approved while you were gone today for refuse. I mean, yeah, but it's important to figure out, where's the garbage going and who's going to haul it off, because in the county there is trash. I know that when you live in the city, oftentimes you live in the city of Leavenworth, there's a difference in the way that things are done, and there's a difference between the governing of the county and the governing of the cities. And I think that probably when you're there today, you'll discover that there are differences in the authorities that the cities have versus the counties versus your state legislature. There's really a lot of difference, and it may seem kind of boring to you now, but as you get older, you're going to discover very quickly, there's a big difference in the governing bodies and who you elect for your city commissioners or councilors, council members, and who you elect for your county governing bodies really makes a huge difference in what happens in your local community. So pay attention to it and register to vote. When you turn 18, you make sure you register to vote and then exercise your right to vote. That franchise is extremely important for all of you. And young women, consider going into political offices and things. I am only the second county commissioner in the history of Leavenworth County. One of you decide to step up and come on and join the county commission and become a county commissioner in the future, because 2 in the history of the county is not very much, right? So think about it.
One other thing, too, that we may throw out there, and every city and county does it different, there's a lot of citizens academies. Lansing puts on one, and I know the sheriff's department's got something like that. If you really want to get down, and they're interesting, they're not boring, if you really want to get down and see what the functions are and step into a little deeper, that's the way to go. It gives you a better idea of what's the meat and gravy of what's going on up here. But I'll be glad to talk to you at 12 and some more stuff about that. But it's overwhelming almost. That doesn't count on the meetings that a lot of these commissioners set on after hours and during the time. But it's I'm enjoying it. But it can be challenging, especially when it's property tax time.
One of the big things we do is in the summertime we work on the budget, so the annual budget, and that always involves how much taxes is going to be levied, and how do we prioritize the resources that we have? Very limited resources, and it's really a hard balance sometimes, and that's one of the things we do that's I would say fairly difficult.
In our county it is, because we have so much tax exempt property. But we also deal with a lot of planning and zoning issues, a lot. And I know all of us reach out to our state representatives and state senators and try to work with them and see what's going on in Topeka and let them know what we need here. And luckily we have some really good representatives and senators in our area that will always take our calls.
We just got one that just got reelected again. He's in the back of the room.
I don't have his phone number yet.
I've got it.
No, I've got
Put it on speed
I've
dial.
got his phone number.
Guys, he's 4 doors down from him. Just let me know.
And just so you know,
But that is important.
the representative that was elected also represents part of the city of Leavenworth. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's different areas that people represent. So
Like the county.
Representative Bueller also represents a portion of the city of Leavenworth. So that your Leavenworth High students, he represents a portion of your community.
County commissioners the same way. I've got all of Lansing, but I got some of Leavenworth.
Right.
And it's depending on the boundaries are broke down.
Mm-hmm.
We try to, each commissioner usually has a city, an incorporated city, but it depends. And we have to do that every 10 years, which we just did. So make
we'll
the
bring
new,
the map
make the
at
new
noon.
boundaries. We'll talk about that too. I'm getting off it. Anything else? If not, need to consider motion to adjourn the.
Motion to adjourn?
No, as a board,
Board of County Commissioners.
as a board of county canvassers.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion second. Aye. Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Stevens.
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson.
Aye.
Commissioner Collins.
Aye.
Now you take it away, Vicki.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye. Commissioner Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Stevens.
Aye.
Commissioner Culbertson.
Aye.
Commissioner Collins.
Aye.
Thank you all, folks. Thanks for coming up here and watching